come from. You da you and me da me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean? Jump and shout all over the nation. We're breaking out with a new creation. It's been too long, we've got to unite now. Time and space can't keep us apart right now. Unity, yes, you better know. It's the only way to go. We stay apart, then we'll have to fall. We count on you, count on one and all. It's not for you, not for me, it's not for we. It's not for you, not for me, it's not for we. Love and respect.
Welcome to Belize Watch. The beautiful municipality of Punta Gorda is home to the We Art Gallery and Museum. The gallery highlights the different cultures of Belize through art. We visited the gallery and spoke with the owner, Dr. Ludwig Palacio. More on our conversation about how the We Art Gallery and Museum came about after we hear a word from our partners, B&E Charitable Trust, the National Gas Company of Belize, Shell Belize, and Dibari Stores. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, BNECT, implemented the student loan program in 2015. This program, facilitated through various qualified financial institutions, provides financing to eligible Belizean students to cover educational costs at accredited secondary, tertiary, and vocational institutions. The student loan program has impacted 626 Belizean lives with an investment of $2.815 million Belize dollars. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, contributing to the education and empowerment of Belizeans. Shell V-Power, with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
The National Gas Company Limited was born of the need for the country of Belize to have a marine gas terminal of its own, thereby securing supplies of critical cooking gas for a growing population. As Belize's population grew, the time came for a modern marine gas terminal that ensured safety, security of supply, and the requisite infrastructure for industry-accepted quality assurance now demanded by the people of Belize. In 2020, the National Gas Company Limited became a reality. The National Gas Company Limited is a $60 million public-private partnership where Belize's private sector would design, finance, construct, and manage a state-of-the-art national marine terminal facility and 2 complementary storage depots away from the coast. After 15 years, the National Gas Company would be fully turned over to the country and people of Belize at no cost to the taxpayer. The National Gas Company of Belize, fueling Belize forward.
We are Dibari, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. Dibari. Get more? Fieles.
And we are at the We Art Gallery here in beautiful Paine, Punta Gorda. And I'm with the man who is totally responsible for the We Art Gallery, son of Punta Gorda, right?
That's
correct. Am I correct?
Yes, I was born here. First of all, welcome, Chief. Welcome, Dr. Villanueva, once again to the We Art Gallery. I think you were last here almost a decade ago.
Almost a decade ago, yeah.
Right, so I guess you can appreciate the transformation that has taken place. But I guess the love continues, and that's why we're here.
That's for sure. No, Ludwig, well, you're Dr. Ludwig Palacio, but for me, we are friends, and so I call you Ludwig. Ludwig, how did all this get started? Because by profession, you're a veterinary person, right?
That's correct. My profession is veterinary surgeon. My clinic is right here. And the gallery also is right here. We decided in 2011 that one of the best ways to unify and portray our diverse cultures in Belize and to harmonize it, because as you know, I come from the Garifuna culture primarily. My wife is Indian origin, and so our kids are mixed ethnically. But we try to show them that being diverse and being mixed is a good thing for Belize. And they were the ones that prompted us to show this beautiful diversity. So the difference with the We Art Gallery Museum is that we are a cultural institution. Art is just a medium to show the power of the cultures.
And that is, I guess, why you selected the name We as a name for that gallery. We meaning all of us.
That's correct. That's exactly. And it was kind of funny because when we were thinking about the name, you know, you begin sometimes you don't have a real name initially. And my wife and I, we sat down and we said, okay, whenever both of us say simultaneously, yes, that's going to be a name. We explored at least about 30 different names until when either she or I said it, we. We both said yes together, and hence the name, the We Art Gallery Museum.
Now, how did painting and art start for you, moving away from the veterinary sciences?
I have always been an artist since very early. I began painting mostly realistic art pieces under the nuns, the German nuns at the Catholic school here in St. Peter Cleaver in the late 60s, early 70s. Okay. And I dropped the ball for many, many years because, you know, if you paint and draw, you don't play football, you don't play all the rough sports, you call a sissy. And that's what I used to like to do, but I didn't like being called a sissy either. So I dropped it for many, many years. We moved to Belmopan in the 70s, and still I did just a few, and I would also have the habit of maybe doing a drawing, a nice one, and then just tear it up or hide it. So lots of pieces I've done over the years are gone. Then when I went to study in Cuba in the 80s, many of the professors used to come to me whenever they want to do like a thesis and they want an illustration inside their work under the microscope, whatever. I was the person that they would usually call to do it. But it never dawned on me that it was a talent until when I came back to Belize, and in 2011, or shortly before that, I began dabbling again and trying again, and people say, this look good. You did this? Yeah, I did it. And then, like I said, with our children on board, when now they're all grown adults, they were the impetus for me to look back at the things that I did really well, which was, you know, carving, sculpting. But mostly, I must add that my strength is that I could depict an idea. It's not the type of painting where I have a photograph and then you reproduce the photograph. That's a different genre of art entirely, which I still respect. But my thing is, how do I portray a feeling? How do I portray love? How do I portray the environment? How do I portray unity? And those are the tenets that permeates almost all my art through abstraction, figurative, a bit of realism here and there, a bit of surrealism. But I'd say that if we want to go by genre, 80% of my work could be considered abstract or abstraction, or abstract expressionism, whichever you want to take.
Can someone come on with an idea and say, well, this is my idea, can you conceptualize it and do an abstract painting around it? Can someone do that sort of thing?
Yes, and especially if the thought is one that piques my imagination and interest. Like I said, if it falls into the arena of love, of people suffering, I could find a way to depict it, and people actually could see it and feel it whenever they look at it in the end.
Now, before we do our tour of the museum, could you provide us with an address for those who might be interested in visiting you, and also maybe talk a little bit as to the stream of visitors you had before COVID and how you have survived, how you are coping with the COVID pandemic.
42 Fairwest Street, and we're also on Facebook as the We at Gallery Museum as well. You can also see a few pieces on it that we have posted over the years. And my telephone number is 667-6275. My email is ludwigpalacio, one word, all lowercase, at yahoo.com. So we're pretty accessible on the World Wide Web and the other electronic media. Yes, unfortunately, we are in the middle of a pandemic, and sometimes we see it's going to get worse before it gets better. But as an optimist, I believe that we're going to have to also prepare for a post-COVID era. Since 2011, we've had at least a couple thousand visitors that have come here to visit and be a part of the experience. We've also had different training sessions, mostly for free, for our young people. We've had some school children come in as well to learn and appreciate their history through art. Also all the way from up north in Orange Walk, Langriga, so we've had quite a bit. But I think that integrating this art gallery museum with the educational curricula would be a very good idea. I wish I had this when I was 5 years old. I think it's really a motivator for the young people who have come and learn and explore their own talents, because one of the things I don't do is I don't interfere with the kind of art that the young people want to express. But we always begin with a concept. What do you feel? What do you want people to see through your art? And my job then is more like a coach, to coach them to realize what they already have inside, because most people already have art in their system.
That is so. All of us have a piece of art inside of us. So something that we think about the most, some illusion in our mind. So we'll have that experience right now, Ludwig. I think we could maybe move off and have that experience. We may start at the front door, so we get the full experience. We start at the front door.
That's correct.
And then we move on through the various exhibitions that you have here. Might not be able to touch every piece of art that you have, but we'll try and highlight at least the main ones.
That's correct. That's correct. Okay, so we can go this way over here.
Well, on entering here, Ludwig, as I enter, I turn sharply to my right, and I can see your vision statement.
That's correct.
We Art Gallery and Museum is a progressive and dynamic, one-of-a-kind institution that adds to the wealth and enhancement of Belizean art and culture. So that's your...
That covers everything, and also, as you can see, the philosophy. We didn't have to go too far. In 1998, I wrote a book, Sugar Rose, which became quite popular around Belize, especially the poem entitled I Am Rich. So our philosophy is that we Belizeans are rich. And of course, if I were to go into that, we can easily take up the next hour. How do you convince the rest of Belizeans, though, that we are rich when we have been groomed from very early that we're poor? Poverty projects, poor this, all kinds of things. When we have vast amount of wealth and natural resources in the forest, under the earth, in the sea, under the sea. And oftentimes these are given out as concessions and contracts to the privileged few. So one of the things that we also try to do here is to show that we can add a very long value chain to our natural resources. So as you can see, I use rosewood as one of my medium.
With your permission, Ludwig, I'd like to just read your poem that you have on the wall here.
Absolutely.
Your philosophy poem. We Belizeans are rich, it says. I am rich. I am rich with vegetation, sunshine, trees, birds, caves, waterfalls, and mountains. I am rich. I have Creole, Garifuna, Maya, Mestizo, and East Indian. I am rich. I have a cool house from green forest. I have fresh fruits, ground food and vegetables, fish from the sea, and good friends for everlasting. I am rich, my dear, for I am Belizean. All right. You know, And during my visit here, and in previous visits that I've made to the Toledo district, and I've managed to talk with farmers and people who live out in the field and actually eat out of their backyard.
That's correct.
I mean, they raise the chicken produce eggs, they grow the corn, they grow the sheep, they raise the sheep, you know, they have fish in tilapia in the small ponds. And they can basically just go to the backyard and say, well, what will I eat today? And then just pluck it out and make a decent, healthy meal.
That's correct. In fact, you bring me back to my early days in Belmopan. I was a teenager at that time, and my dad was a police officer in Shaibe. Mm-hmm. So the first time I visited Shaibe was on an occasion where Judge Price was addressing the community. And he did the address in Spanish, and I could never forget when he mentioned that the food that we eat today, comimos escabeche. Escabeche tiene proteína, del pollo. And he went through the whole list of stuff that la tortilla tiene carbohidratos y minerales. You know, so he gave all the nutrients that this one meal embodied, which was something that we didn't have to import at all. Everything was locally produced, and that really kind of sowed a seed in my head at that very early age that we can produce almost everything we need here in Belize. The fear is really and truly that we are immensely wealthy as a country in terms of natural resources. So I think once we have the systems in place that the wealth could be shared across the board, maybe not equally, but at least equitably, by having equal opportunities or access to opportunities, then the country as a whole can unfold and bloom into what it is really and truly supposed to be. That is our greatest fear, that we are immensely wealthy.
But nature has blessed people with wealth untold, but that wealth is in the land, it's in the nature. We got to work the land, and I think COVID has taught us that we cannot put all our eggs in one basket.
That's correct.
We need to turn to what is basic, which is the use of the land.
That's correct. I totally concur.
Okay. All right, let's move around the museum.
This is one of the, a major piece, and it was during a time when the Rosewood was being pillaged. And like I said, I believe that we need to create that consciousness that what we have is important, that what we have can make us and will make us rich someday. So, like I said to Chief yesterday, what if we can add a long value chain rather than just cut the trees and send out the stumps?
Yeah.
Or the logs.
Yeah.
What if we can have somebody make, I don't know, value-added furniture? A whole amount of people can benefit along that chain rather than cutting it down once and just shipping out logs. This is one of the examples of our immense wealth. It's a protest piece. You can see this lady is screaming.
Oh, there she is.
You can see, you can actually feel the scream. This little piece here took me almost the same amount of time to do as compared to the rest of the art. She's screaming to stop the pillaging. Let's put what we have to good use. And she's accompanied by the energy and the community. So there's a movement towards that consciousness. That's the meaning of this particular piece here.
Rosewood, and it's a solid piece of rosewood, right?
Solid, that's from the root.
Mm-hmm, the root of a tree.
All of these are rosewood pieces.
Uh-huh. The stepping woman.
Right.
Where
Stepping woman, it's a metaphor because if you come from this side, she's stepping forward. If you go around the other side, you will notice that she's also stepping forward.
You're right.
And that tells us that the Belizean woman and women in general, no matter what you throw at them, they can handle it. They can pick up that burden and move forward, which by extension means we have to cherish the Belizean women and women in general. So that's the meaning of this particular piece. And over here, you can put your hand in here. You can feel the energy.
Let me see.
Get the shape, yeah,
This hand, right?
your left hand. It's almost anybody with hands could make it fit in there.
Yeah, and they have a thumb area as well.
That's
Huh?
correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
One solid rosewood piece.
Nice. And moving along, I see you take this was been a piece of driftwood or something. What would this be?
This one was a piece of rosewood left over that I recycled into art.
And what's that trying to tell me?
This is totally abstract, so you take what you want from it on your own. So you become a part of the art yourself.
And your paintings, everything is abstract, right? Let's point that out one time.
All these paintings are abstract paintings, as you can see over here. And again, it's all about the feeling. It's more what you feel than what you see. That's the importance of these pieces. These are very, very important types of art, those two. And I think I did a series. Sometimes I do a series and then I stop. I think there's a series of 7 or 8. The rosewood over here that looks kind of curved as well. I don't usually replicate for too long. So if you get a piece of Palacios art, consider it very unique.
But a little bit of guidance. Almost any one of us can become an abstract sculptor or painter because it's how we interpret what we have done. And interpretation really comes from inside our minds. So from the inside of our minds, we bring it out. And each one of us has that gift inside of us that we can bring out. And if we can learn the basic of how to maybe sculpt a little, each one of us could be maybe an abstract sculptor.
I totally agree. And once you put the hours and the practice and get the basic techniques, you definitely can.
Because, for example, in this abstract, everything is unique.
That's correct.
There are no two equals.
This is coconut shell. This is sea glass. This is rosewood. So rather than paint a line, this line is the actual rosewood. And this is Pocono Boy. It's a really nice texture. So this line is Pocono Boy. You know, and to get these impressions, I use ordinary pieces of thread, put the paint on the thread, and just rub it on the surface. And so you are not in control of the product. You're in control of the process. So there's a difference. What comes out is beyond what you, the artist, conceptualize. It transcends the artist, and that's the beauty of quite a bit of abstract art as well.
We will continue our tour of the We Art Gallery and Museum, but let's say thank you to our partners, and these are the B&E Charitable Trust, working in the development of Belize by inspiring young Belizean entrepreneurs to dream and to dream big. The National Gas Company of Belize, fueling Belize forward. The National Gas Company makes sure that you not only have a guaranteed supply of gas for every household need, but also that it is of the highest quality always. Shell Belize has been fueling Belize for many, many years, and they have done that with reliability and dependability. Tibari stores in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio, Orange Walk, and San Pedro, offering you much more for much less. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, BNECT, implemented the student loan program in 2015. This program, facilitated through various qualified financial institutions, provides financing to eligible Belizean students to cover educational costs at accredited secondary, tertiary, and vocational institutions. The student loan program has impacted 626 Belizean lives with an investment of $2.815 million Belize dollars. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, contributing to the education and empowerment of Belizeans. Shell V-Power, with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
The National Gas Company Limited was born of the need for the country of Belize to have a marine gas terminal of its own, thereby securing supplies of critical cooking gas for a growing population. As Belize's population grew, The time came for a modern marine gas terminal that ensured safety, security of supply, and the requisite infrastructure for industry-accepted quality assurance now demanded by the people of Belize. In 2020, the National Gas Company Limited became a reality. The National Gas Company Limited is a $60 million public-private partnership where Belize's private sector would design, finance, construct and manage a state-of-the-art national marine terminal facility and 2 complementary storage depots away from the coast. After 15 years, the National Gas Company would be fully turned over to the country and people of Belize at no cost to the taxpayer. The National Gas Company of Belize, fueling Belize forward.
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, Sa Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Be less.
Get a chance to win one of 13 great prizes with BEL's Customer Rewards. To qualify, all your residential or social electricity accounts must have no arrears by November 30th, 2021. You can win a family vacation to Grand Caribe for 2 nights or exchange for a $1,500 grocery voucher. 2 nights family vacation stay at Blues Inn or exchange for a $1,500 grocery voucher. And 11 winners of an $800 grocery voucher. Remember, to qualify, all electricity accounts must be cleared and prizes will be awarded to the account holder. Win big with BEL's Customer Rewards.
Well, Ludwig, I cannot help but look up and see this piece of abstract work here.
Yes.
You know, with like all electrical outlets and what have you. What is this telling me?
Very good question. I was on your show or your station listening to Love FM. The news came on that, youth violence, this was in 2010. And so many of our youths are still dying. This shouldn't be. But of course, that would be a whole different show. But obviously, it touched my heart quite a bit. So this was a wall on the other side before we opened the gallery. You can see 2010. We opened the gallery in 2011. And all I had was a 2-inch paintbrush and a few oil paint. This paint took over a month to dry. So I began painting the wall. And I said, but what if we can have an overflow? So the name of it is Catch an Overflow or Catch the Overflow. I also have a book by the same name. An overflow meaning that because we have so much, we shouldn't have to worry because we have so much. Many of the reasons why people end up doing crime is because they have so little to nothing. So this is exacerbated by other factors, of course. Our young people turn to negative activities rather than progressive activities. So the overflow is all about catching that group of the community, our children. We shouldn't have to be burying our children. They should be burying us. So all of those emotions went into the painting of this. It's actually a bit wider. As you can see, it's a professional plywood. So all the outlets and everything were painted. And when the gallery opened, we took it apart very gently and placed it here as a painting, as you can see.
So these are actual outlets in your home?
That's correct.
Like switch your electrical plug-in and
right.
that sort of thing?
Yeah, right. I painted a wall. 6 hours, non-stop.
I was wondering, what are those things in the middle of a painting?
So it was actually this way, upside down, but this is how it fit inside the gallery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Then, of course, we do smaller pieces.
Yes, of course. Then we can all do intertwine.
And these two are getting married, right?
Yep, that's correct. These two are getting married. We have to celebrate that unity as well.
Yeah, celebrating the unity of 2 persons. Yeah. And this
This is intertwine.
Intertwined, and you really had to put a lot into this to intertwine all those pieces of twine.
Yes, correct. The lumber are all upcycled. Normally we throw away these things, but I decided to cut them into 2 inches pieces, put them together, and this is about, I think, 36 inches thereabouts, and paint the earth colors and the sun colors, which is canvas, to the back. So in other words, the sun is shining on our interconnectedness, and our interconnectedness is something that we should also value. This piece is called intertwine, and all of these strings are painted individually 2 arms length of mine, and then I tie to the back, and the consistency of it is that each one of these strings will pass through the center, which brings us all together as one nation, one people, one big human web, one family. And that's the interpretation of this piece here.
So every string here passes through this
That's correct.
centerpiece.
That's correct.
And
That's correct.
Bringing all of us together, despite the origin where the string comes from or where we come from, the fact is that at the base and in our hearts, we are all one.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. Yep.
Wow, amazing. And many people would have could bring that out, but you choose to do it that way.
Do this piece as well.
What is this now?
This one is on the lighter side. It's called a handless kiss.
A handless kiss.
That's correct. That's a bit challenging, right, Mr. Rene? But you could do it if you try. This is a lady over here, and she's stealing a kiss actually from her spouse. Maybe he's about to go to work or coming from work, and actually this leg should have been on top of his, so he can't go anywhere until she finished giving him her kiss. And obviously the kiss was quite enjoyable because you can see her that's correct. So you can also have joy and fun doing your art piece.
And what's the reason for symbolizing unity, bringing them together?
All together, correct.
All together.
They're all connected. And the base actually, my son, the oldest one, he's in Belize City. He did a year in Canada, so he has a Canadian family. And so when he was here visiting, I challenged both of them to come up with the base. And my Canadian son, liked the sea and waves. So my son also liked that concept. So together I said, okay, the base, we're going to conceptualize it. And so it's actually like a wave. And that's what I did to complement this particular art. So they were the ones who conceptualized it.
And this wall, all you have is just a few paint.
Coconut fiber.
Those are coconut fibers?
Yep, coconut fiber art. And we have another one, maybe we could step over the side, which shows you a nice mosaic using all coconut fiber.
All coconut fiber?
That's correct. This is all coconut fiber. And it's an abstract art, which again could never be duplicated. You do this once. This particular piece just went at random completely, cut out the shapes, glue it onto the canvas, and then back it up with another type of glue in between so it holds forever, and then put in the colors that I wanted.
What are you trying to show here?
Well, again, this one is totally up to the viewer. So this one is for the viewer, but it also shows that you can use what you have to create art. In this case, we're using the coconut fiber.
What about
this is also coconut fiber.
fiber as well?
And this one,
I'm
making the hudut, the beet planting. And that is really and truly one of my granduncles, Uncle Paul Palace from Barranco. Whenever we go to visit, he'd be the first to begin cooking. And I think this is a beautiful embodiment. One of the best things a person can do is share food. And he enjoyed doing that. So that's his Uncle Paul, may he rest in peace. And this again is all coconut fiber.
Uncle Paul, a little hudut.
That's correct.
What about this one here?
This piece is called Welcome, and that's all. That's all to it. It's just welcome. So in other words, this is the piece that welcomes you into the We Art Gallery Museum. Actually, when I began working
This is
on it,
rosewood?
no, this one is,
What kind of wood is?
I give it a story. I saw a piece of wood thrown away somewhere, picked it up, and did this art piece. An old man came in, and he said, I bet you don't know what kind of wood that. And I'm like, I know you're right. But it has all this beautiful texture and striations and all of that. It has more character than most woods that I ever know. He took the piece, turned it upside down, did a little bite on it, and tasted it. And he said, this is Tambran. Oh, yeah. And so I know now that it's Tambran. I didn't know before, thanks to him. Yeah.
Oh. This is a spoon or?
This is an abstract piece, and it's like a reminder that time is essential, time is important. So this is about time. It's about time that we Belizeans unite. It's about time that our people become more robust, more educated, more relevant to serve modern needs. So it's about time. Everything is about time, and that's what this piece is portraying. This one is called For We Story. And as you can see, all the lines that go across, what those lines are telling us that we have to go beneath the surface. We have to go beyond and find our true selves. We have to go beyond and find our true history which will make us more complete, more relevant, and we can pass that history on to the next generation. So For We Story isn't only what the colonialists have written about us, it's also the stories that we have shared by our grandparents. And those are the true stories that we need to begin to document and portray, or else we'll forever be a colony. And I think one of the other things that I try to do is to show a more grassroots, a more vibrant history that we all have that was thwarted and diminished by the colonial system. And we cannot blame them for that. The oppressor always need to do that. The education system that they have left was one that forces the brightest people to want to migrate.
Exactly.
And we still have that brain drain going on. What if we can reverse that? What if the universities could be generators of projects, environmentally friendly projects that have great impact in the country? I was reading one in Germany. These students engineered a dam that is environmentally friendly. No fish get caught in the process. What if our students could do that? What if our students could figure out how to deal with homelessness? So I'm talking about community rather than just the traditional curriculum. Everybody get an associate in business and don't even open a business. I mean, it's topsy-turvy and confusing. And I think we, as the older ones, need to bring these things out
Totally
so that we can change and use what we have. So the community solves problems that are part of our daily lives. And that's when we're going to be more relevant.
Totally agree, because we teach our children everything else about the world except about what's around them in our world here in Belize. Guys, down here a little bit again.
Okay, these two are all from the white rosewood. You know, we have different types of rosewood, and this one is the white one. They call it the bastard rosewood. I don't like use the word bastard, but that's how it's known. And well, it's what you see. These two here are made from the same material. This is a bigger version of the giving. So this,
You're giving the heart, right? The person has the heart.
It's a symbol of thankfulness, appreciation, gratitude. And this one is kind of like mimicking a person who's thinking. So this is the person's head and the hand on the head. Because also to think, that creative process is extremely important. We have to think, we have to be creative, we have to use our minds. If we don't use our minds, it's like any ordinary muscle. it will become smaller or atrophy. You don't want that. So you want to also exercise your brain and the thought process. And there are so many people in Belize who are so gifted and wealthy in terms of their natural abilities mentally, but oftentimes they are not appreciated. He think he too smart. I can't mess with he, things like that. And even if you go to war, which I'm against, if you don't have great strategists and great thinkers, those young men going to war will just lose their lives senselessly because there's no thinking. In the art of war, we know that we need the critical thinking and strategies before you can execute anything. So I am more about a peaceful war, if you want to call it that. And all of us can become involved, and society and humanity can progress by the great mental acumen that we have. Our commonwealth is extraordinary. So I believe that with time, it will make a big difference in terms of our progress as a people and as a country and as a world, the entire world.
Where they come from? You that you and me that me. But guess what?
What is this red stuff here? What are you trying to protect? First it looked like a stick of dynamite, but then I guess it's not that. And then this white thing coming out of the...
It's like, I call it like an art explosion.
Oh.
And that was the feeling I had, that I was exploding inside, so I had to hurry paint something. Right, correct. But it's a positive explosion if you...
Okay, you don't got fuse.
That's correct. And here, this lady is telling the world that you don't judge me based on my past. So this is her past. I can literally take this piece out and put it here.
Oh, yeah.
But no, she's illuminated and with an attitude moving forward. So this is quite a mosaic again. I began it in 2009, and in 2019, I cut it up into pieces and put this background, this circular background. I just glue this mosaic now onto it because at first it was just one piece, right? But I made that change, 10 years later? So this is the final, I won't touch it anymore.
But you know something, Ludwig, if I look at this, and first thing that comes to mind looking at this piece here is a piece of Belize somewhere. That's just me looking at it, right? Okay, a lake and what have you and so on. But this looks like the Toledo district right here.
True.
Right?
That's true.
This piece right here.
Yeah.
Pretty much like the Toledo district. And if you want to go up, it's very much like a Belizean coastline. And then again, you can look at it, and because it's abstract, you can look at it again and see like the face of a man looking or kissing fitting directly into the you can see the man's face right here.
Yes, you're totally correct.
Right?
Oh yes.
Wearing a hat.
Wow, this would be his head over there.
That would be his head over here.
The neck. Oh my goodness.
And it's facing into the lady. That's what I'm seeing here.
Right, you're totally correct.
That's what I'm seeing here as I look at this, right? The guy, see, facing up to the lady, and she, with all confidence, moving forward,
Wow.
That's what I see. Right?
That's a very romantic interpretation, but I like that, and that's one of the purpose of abstraction.
So I see Belize in there, and I see two human beings.
Look at that. All right, this is one of my realistic painting. It was a flower, and I do it just for fun, to show people that I can also paint realistically. But my passion, of course, as you can see, is abstract.
Of course.
Yeah.
And these are abstract little things that you found.
Right. Rosewood root. I like rosewood because they last forever. It actually develops like a little skin that protects the inside of it, and you have to go beyond that to get to the real core of the rosewood and see the beauty. That's why I like rosewood so much.
And this with a burnt edge here? This
piece was totally burnt. If you would have seen this in the forest, you'd do like everybody else, just leave it there. The same material, the one to the top and bottom, I call this one the phoenix. We're going to rise again from the ashes and Hence, I left the burnt part for everybody to see. So the whole thing was like this until I finished working on it. So we shall rise again, Rene.
We shall rise again. Belize will conquer and overcome, and we'll be better off for it.
My wife picked up this piece. It was a piece of mango that was going to be thrown away. And she asked the guys from working for the Catholic mission to throw it away in her yard, which they did. And some years later, I made this piece. Interestingly, I had made a design for it and lost the design. I always do that. I lose things pretty easily. And I'm like, well, the piece isn't supposed to be. Some years later, maybe about 3 or 4 years later, I found the design again. No, I'll rephrase that. I went ahead and made the piece anyway, based on what I had inside my heart and head. And after I had made the piece, I found the design. And when I put them side by side, they were almost identical.
What does it say?
The Heart of Life is a symbolism for the unity of the male and the female who will procreate and give birth. So if you look at it, the wrong formations, I also do surgery like I mentioned to you, so whenever you would open up a dog and she's pregnant, those wrong formations will look like that. If you go to the forest, whenever the trees are fruitful, they give wrong formations. So those wrong formations are all about fruitfulness. And also, you can look at it like the head and the tail of the sperm. So it's about life. And then you can also look at the head and the two heads as male and female, the female being on the right and the male being on the left. And the heart actually, hence the name Heart of Life. If you look more towards the right, you'll see that it's more curvaceous than to the left. So you can interpret that one where the eye is to be the female, and just to the side of it would be like her hair in abstract form. And then to the base over here, it's like the fire which keeps the heart warm. And to do this, I had to burnish the wood. This is a very long process to get the contrast. So it's both a wood carving and also like a wood painting because of the contrast, as you can see.
But you know, Ludwig, I would add to it too that this circle here, this here, since it's such a romantic story that you're painting here about the joint of man and a woman coming together, that might be the womb of the woman.
It is the womb, precisely. Okay. It's also like a renaissance, if you will. It's also like a wave.
You that you and me that me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean?
We will take a break to hear from our partners, and when we come back, we'll continue to enjoy the beauty of the We Art Gallery and Museum located on Far West Street in beautiful Punta Gorda. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, BNECT, implemented the student loan program in 2015. This program, facilitated through various qualified financial institutions, provides financing to eligible Belizean students to cover educational costs at accredited secondary, tertiary, and vocational institutions. The student loan program has impacted 626 Belizean lives with an investment of $2.815 million Belize dollars. The Belize Natural Energy Charitable Trust, contributing to the education and empowerment of Belizeans. Shell V-Power, with 3 times more cleaning and friction-reducing molecules. Go well. Go Shell.
The National Gas Company Limited was born of the need for the country of Belize to have a marine gas terminal of its own, thereby securing supplies of critical cooking gas for a growing population. As Belize's population grew, the time came for a modern marine gas terminal that ensured safety, security of supply, and the requisite infrastructure for industry-accepted quality assurance now demanded by the people of Belize. In 2020, the National Gas Company Limited became a reality. The National Gas Company Limited is a $60 million public-private partnership where Belize's private sector would design, finance, construct and manage a state-of-the-art national marine terminal facility and 2 complementary storage depots away from the coast. After 15 years, the National Gas Company would be fully turned over to the country and people of Belize at no cost to the taxpayer. The National Gas Company of Belize, fueling Belize forward.
We are the Barry, offering you great products, good service, and of course, the lowest prices in the entire country. Visit us in Belize City, Belmopan, San Ignacio Cayo, Orange, and now in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita. The Barry. Get more? Pay less.
Where they come from. You that you and me that me. But guess what? All are we the one. See what I mean?
Well, you can't pass it on noticing this. There's no way to hit you in the head if you
Right.
if you don't notice it.
It is the beauty in diversity. So this side is textured differently from this side over here.
Okay.
But the connection is by this beautiful flower in the middle. The holes are drilled on the medium, so you can put a light fixture to the back, and the light filters through these holes. Looks like the night sky. It's absolutely amazing. This again, like Renee says, is the womb. So the womb is here again. And the womb is always a symbol of transformation. Renaissance.
Moving forward, yeah.
Mobility.
Future.
This piece over here is based on the divide as well. And again, rooted in the whole colonial history between the peoples of Guatemala and Belize. We are still brothers and sisters on different sides of the lines. In fact, as you can see, across lines, there's one dynamism. So we can say that the lines are indeed artificial. Although it might sound controversial, we have to come to terms with it, that we are people across borders. And in fact, when the earth was created, there were no boundaries. It was just one globe. So all borders were decided upon by some force, trying to carve the world into pieces. Even Africa, when they carve it out, it has done no good. And for Africa to progress, it will at some point reunite as united African states. And those little lines that were drawn by the colonial regime will serve other purposes. And the bigger picture will be for economics, education, trade, and love.
Yeah, of course, it's all about love, because like the man said, faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. That's where it starts. You know, once you got love, we could fill in the rest.
Yeah. This piece is called Ugundani, and again, it's an it's an abstract piece. And Ugundani means happiness or joy, but it's not the English definition of joy, where you feel that joy by yourself. It's larger than that. It's that joy and happiness you feel when the society and the community is at peace, is balanced. So it transcends. Everybody happy. Everybody joyous. Okay. In other words, you can't be so happy, Renee, when your neighbor next door is suffering. It's counterproductive. So we're looking at joy across the board.
You always remind me now, since you said that famous commandment that Jesus gave, love your neighbor as yourself. So you don't want to be sad, so you don't want your neighbor to be sad either.
That's correct.
You know, you don't want to be your land to be taken away from you or to be claimed from you, so you shouldn't be claiming other people's land.
That's
you know
correct.
what I talk about, right?
That's totally correct.
You know?
Fully on board with that. So I did these 4 big pieces. And this one here was the
Teach
one
some
that-
people love, Ludwig.
Right. This one is called Our Legacy. And I haven't, I took off the frame because it was taken to Trinidad for the Curry Festa.
How did it do in Curry Festa?
I think it did pretty well. And I was happy that it was selected to represent this beautiful jewel by niche. So here you can appreciate the wave, where you see the black and white. It tells us that, we are always rising, always progressing, even though we might seem to go down at times. Where we began to the bottom and where we are now is always qualitatively better. And that is what we're supposed to do as humanity. I always try to leave something better, because our legacy is what we have received, but what about what we will leave to be the legacy for the next generation? And that's the duality of this particular artwork. It's our legacy, yes, but it's not only about what you get, it's also about what you give and what you're prepared to leave behind for the next generation. So that is the purpose of this piece here.
This area right here, what does it symbolize, this area right here? Because this is like a watchful eye or something.
Well, the eye is the eye is also my signature. So
Okay.
always looking, always be aware. Don't let your guards down, because if you do, you will never achieve your goal either. But again, it's an abstract piece, and this particular painting I did with my left hand because I wanted it to be different. So my comfort hand, the right hand, I decided to tie it up, well, not literally, but to dispense with my right hand and do this piece with my left hand and see what happened. And this is what happened.
And this piece down here, because I could see something else here. Right there.
Well, these
The
are,
message. It's almost like you are. If you look at it, you can feel a feeling of unity.
Yes.
But you can also look at it and say, there's some division there. Because you can look at this as something uniting, or you can look at it as something dividing.
That's
but
right.
the teeth look like they would fit in. If they were together, they would fit in quite well.
That's correct. It's not to focus on division as division, but diversity as unity.
And the light color, I guess, makes it make you understand that the diversity, the division is basically nothing. It's
Exactly. We're more alike than not alike, put it that way. And again, this particular piece here, even if I wanted to, I would never be able to paint one exactly like this. You will change the hue of the colors, everything else will change. So the best would be a photograph, but this is one of a kind. And I was happy that it represented Belize at Trinidad for Carifesta.
very good. Now, of course, I want some more major art.
That's
abstract art pieces.
This one over here as well.
Okay. What will you tell me about this one? It's like life.
Yeah, I think it's life. It's one that I did when I was in a really, really happy mood. Again, it's abstract, so you can take from it what you like, but I think the colors are quite pleasing.
Yeah.
And I guess I should talk a bit of the process, because what I do is, if you look at the different colors, you will see like wide ranges and blends. If you look here, for example, there's at least 2, 3 different, 4 colors even just here, this little spot.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted to achieve. So the colors do the speaking. For me, painting is no different from literature. It has themes, it has climax, anticlimax, it has character, it has almost all the different elements that we study in literature. So in fact, we can have a better appreciation of literature through art, through painting, So this could be a whole story, a whole book. And people coming to be a part of it can go back and write in their notes for composition. And it's the best way to get young people specifically to write and express. If you just do it like that, the teachers will complain, oh, the child can't write. Everything what the child can't do is what becomes manifest. When they come to the gallery and see something that sparks their imagination, they go back and they're able to articulate better in their essays, in their compositions. Yeah. That is a fact, a simple fact.
Art through the art medium. I guess you say we're coming to the end of our tour.
Almost to the end.
Almost to the end, but
this one is a rosewood piece, and it's called a nude dancer.
Okay.
So it's 2 pieces.
Okay, nice. This is a base.
Yeah. All rosewood, 100%.
The new dancer.
Right. I also use, of course, mahogany. So these two are mahogany over there. This is for touch because you also have people with who are visually impaired. One of my neighbors specifically is visually impaired. And he used to stop by and he'd tell me, well, let me just touch the art. And it was kind of like strange because he could interpret just based on touch. So I figured one of the things I can do is to do art that also appeals to people who are visually impaired. So let's do a test. Renee, close your eyes, put out your left hand, and I want you to just touch and rub your hand against the surface. Tell me what you feel now.
Yeah, I feel the ruggedness of it.
Exactly. Now open your eyes.
Points.
Open your eyes, and you don't see the ruggedness.
Yeah, but it's there.
It's there, and you feel it.
Yeah, it's there. You can feel it with your hand.
Right, and it does that sensation.
You can feel when the difference here when you get here, you know something.
That's correct.
Right here, so
That's correct.
and you get rugged right around here, you know, and you can go around it. Yeah.
So as you can see, it's quite a special piece of art. This one, along the same lines, what I did, I used a very small syringe. As you all have heard, I am a veterinarian, so I do have syringes, but I could also reuse my syringe to do art. So I could put a bubble and then just burst it with the little syringe, the air and the small, fine amount of paint go on the surface. So I don't use brush for this particular section here, only for here. The inside, I use mostly needle.
I see something depicted there, but several things, really. Well,
Several, it's a whole life.
I see several things depicted there.
That's correct. Also, this is like a silhouette, again, of a partner, maybe like a male and a female. You could see that.
I saw that.
It could also be a pregnant lady, so this would be her backside,
Exactly.
this would be her belly.
Yeah, I saw that
You
too.
know, so
I got that out of it too. Let me see
inside,
what I took it out of it now.
you could see somebody over here like a mermaid.
Yes.
You can see a dancer over here, her head, her feet, and she's happy, jumping and dancing. Of course, the word love is right there as well, L-O-V-E is right there. So you can see like a face over here, right? So it's, again, up to the person's imagination.
What I'm seeing here is one person demonstrating so many feelings or having so many feelings going through the body.
That's right.
You know, because you feel low, you feel high, you feel like, you know, so like you pointed out the different feeling. But I also see as well, and that's when I looked at it for the first time, I saw something that resembled Kikaka or San Pedro in the middle of the sea, like an island in the sea, you know, where the shallow areas are around it, and as you go out more the water, they get deeper and more blue. You know, so you can look at it in so many different ways.
That's correct.
Right. Yeah.
This is the leaf bowl right here. This is all mahogany. And here you can see a leaf inside here. The whole thing is also a leaf. So this is a leaf here. The bottom part is also a leaf. And we have leaves carved out in here. One there, one here. So this is the leaf bowl. The other one I made similar to this was purchased and is now in the US with Mikey Garcia, the boxer who came to Belize. He spent quite a bit of time here in the gallery. He purchased one of the bowls and took it to the States with him. Mikey Garcia, if you're listening, saludos desde Belize y el We Art Gallery Museum, así como mi gente en Guatemala y en Honduras, mucho cariño desde Punta Gorda. Ojalá que se acabe esta pandemia y pronto nos veremos. Almost finished.
So yeah, some old irons and old things from the past, some old things that we used to use.
My wife's people. So the Indian section, if you will. Some of the things are here from the Ramklam family, the Borlands, the Williams. I guess that covers almost all Belizeans of Indian ancestry.
Where they come from. You that you and me that me. But guess what? All are we the one.
And this is look like an old Belize flag with the something splattered in the middle there. What were you trying to say there, Ludwig?
This is like the Belize flag in abstract form.
Where the red was added to it.
Yeah, in abstract form. And we should also promote our country and nation through the flag. So flags are also important. And the last one,
no wall.
no wall. Thanks for choosing love. And
love has no walls, in all honesty.
Rene has done that quite well. And he has chosen love rather than separation by walls and all that stuff that go along with it, the homophobia, the xenophobia, all those phobias we need to get rid of, and focus only on this. So these are metaphorical bridges, if you will. I could have painted realistic bridges over here, but I wanted people to use their imagination and look at this journey, beautiful journey to love. And I used all the colors and just blended them together to embody love.
Because love is all color.
That's correct. That's correct. No more war.
No more war. Right? And
No more war, no more wall.
yes. Because love encompasses everything. It takes care of everything.
Right, and also if you look almost at almost every letter to the bottom of it or inside of it, it's almost like a whole story. You could see the turmoil that that happens inside this wall and the effects of it.
Yeah.
And just if you go above,
The wall.
go above the pettiness, go above the pessimists, go above people who, prefer to bring down, and get that power to cross these bridges and focus on this beautiful spot here. We can all do that.
It will tell you what I like to talk sometime about negativity and positivity. They all go together. They're all in one painting. Negative, positive.
Right.
Negative, positive. Mixed painting. Right? So you can concentrate on this part here. Right? And say, oh my, look at all the blood dropping, the problems caused by this. Look at the wall, how he painted it, and you could start looking at, okay, I feel gloomy. Or you can look up and see blue skies, right? Unity of all the colors that make up love, and the moving forward, right? With a nice blue.
Also, you have said it well, because even more important than a physical structured wall, it is those walls that are mental constructs. It's the walls that we have in our heads.
In our minds.
Right? The ideas that limits us. So we are looking at life in its abundance. Life in a form that is attainable, reachable. It's like a pie. But most time we think about a pie as a slice of a pie. Let's just imagine a pie that is enormous and non-ending. And this is what this painting is saying. This is what love means. It's an unending pie and not the slice that we have in our mind as a construct. It's a huge, unlimited, a pie that will never be diminished once we choose love. Thanks for choosing love.
I want to thank you so much, Ludwig, for taking me through your We Art Gallery, and then make us feel like we all are with a part of we. Right? So it's a We Art Gallery.
Thank you too, Renee. This has been a wonderful experience, a good way to share what we have here with the rest of the world.
Let me congratulate you on a job well done, Ludwig. You're not only good at veterinary sciences, you're very good at abstract and figurative art.
Yes.
So this piece we have in our hands, I couldn't help but noticing it and picking it up because you have several pieces on the table here.
And that's correct.
You have about 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, about 8 pieces on the table.
Yes, correct.
What does this symbolize? Because
I think
saying something.
Very simply, it's gratitude.
Gratitude.
Here, this person is at the edge, insisting that, love is the most important. So we can't allow her to fall, or we can't allow him to fall, whichever way we look at it. So the appreciation is almost like mandatory. Our existence depends on it. Our future depends on it. Let's be thankful today. So I think we should say it one more time, Rene.
Of course.
Belize and beyond. Thanks for choosing love.
Love, and here's the
Listen,
definition of love.
the embodiment of it right here.
Right on.
All right. Thanks again.
Thanks to you, Ludwig. Thank you so much, my brother. And all the best.
All right.
We hope you enjoyed our visit to the We Art Gallery in beautiful, piney Punta Gorda. Belize Watch, knowledge of the past, impacting the present, building the future.